All right, so we've got about 40 minutes to the opening bell here, and I'm going to start going over the watch list and see if I can find a couple of stocks worth trading this morning. Hopefully we find something interesting. Let's see. So before we get started, I'm just going to make sure my broadcast is running correctly. All right, so that looks good. Yeah, DTST, it is our leading gapper. I haven't taken any trades on it, and I'm not super interested in it here. The problem that I sort of see with it is that it's underneath the 200 moving average. You know, it's just kind of, it's clearly had resistance at this level before, and it's at 391, so it's kind of, you know, relatively close by. It's not a blue sky setup. You know, it doesn't really look like it has a ton of potential. So I feel like this is one at this point where if I started trading it, I would just be churning shares. You know, I don't really want to just churn a bunch of shares and burn a bunch of commissions. It's just not really worth doing that. So DTST, leading gapper, 4.2 million share float, but pulling back a bit now, and it doesn't really feel like it's got the potential to really do something exciting. Next one down, AGRI. I've traded this one before. It's very thickly traded. It's choppy. Haven't really done particularly well on it, so I already know that this is one that I'm not super interested in. I'll probably just sort of leave it alone, ignore it, whatever. Look for the next one. Those tuning in for the morning show, give me a shout and let me know if you can hear me and see me okay. I don't see the chat messages coming through, but that just may be, I don't know, maybe YouTube just being funny. So AGRI, no interest there. GTech, this one's got the 200 moving average at 596. So this is a little, has a little bit more room, but let's see what the news is. Thanks, Brent. Appreciate that. Thanks, Tyler. Baltimore County for manufacturing expansion. So earnings per share declined, earnings increased. Revenue also increased. We'll see. Okay. Go. All right. So that's our fourth leading gapper, RTLR. Oh, come on. My e-signal crashed. No, let me restart it. Okay. In any case, even without looking at charts, highly unlikely that I'll be interested in RTLR, 37 million share float with very light volume. MANT, $93 stock. Not going to trade that. HARP, cheap, not a lot of volume. EFOI, not a lot of volume either. So yes, Viru is a continuation setup. The problem is, can you really trust continuation in this market? I'm not sure if you can. So current time is 8:55, almost 8:56. About 3 minutes till 9 a.m. We'll see if we have any breaking news at 9. Friday's high on Viru was about $15.15. There's a pivot at 15.47, and then you've got room to 17.50. But like I said, I mean, you know, yeah, it held up relatively well, but it pulled back a bit, you know, off that kind of extension at 15. So I would say the chart looks sort of like it would need to get back above this level in here, kind of 1360s, 1385. And then if it got above that level, reclaim 14, you know, then you start having your target at $15.15. But no, I wasn't there, Josh. Yeah, your high is 345 on DTST. So there's 9 a.m. Sellers stacked up on DTST as well. Probably if it breaks the high, have people taking profit. RTLR, right? So this is the one that's a little bit higher price. It looks like it's an acquisition to acquire publicly held common units of Rattler in all stock deal. Rattler. YVR a bit on the cheaper side. AMPG up 14%, easy to borrow. 200 moving averages at 350. Nice year-over-year revenue increase, 978%. So the problem with this is that it's going to come right into its daily resistance level there. The volume is a bit light right now. S&P pulling back a little bit. No, AMPG would need to get over 350 first. No trades on it in this area. So you can see how AMPG popped up and then retraced the whole move. Kind of a bummer. I mean, you know, it's a nice headline, but it's just not enough. Pixie is a bit on the cheap side for me, but you got a nice move on Friday. Well, DTST seems like the obvious one in the sense that it is the leading gapper. So you know you're right that from that perspective it is, but sometimes the most obvious one ends up being at a price range that I don't feel comfortable with, or just doesn't look like it's got a lot of potential. You know, I could be wrong. I mean, the pre-market high on it is 45. You know, it's possible that we could get a trade on it. It's at the 9 moving average, but I'm gonna wait for a second and just see how it trades. It's already trading pretty thickly. So you got that break right there. So, you know, could I have taken that with 10,000 shares and made 500 bucks? Yeah. Could I have taken it with 20 or 30,000 and made 1,500 bucks? Yeah, I could have. So your high now is 65. The problem is that you've got that 200 moving average, but we'll see what it can do. The 200's what is it, 390. $60,000 share seller at 55 there. So pops up a retracement back down to 45, the breakout spot. So aside from that 2-candle pop there, it's not really holding up super well. Dan, well, there's a couple issues. One is for some reason, the way Lightspeed's charts work, if you don't have it opened up to 200 candles, it won't always show you the correct position of the moving average. So if I pull up DTST here, it says 410. But then when I open up more candles, it actually will come down a little bit. Well, it did just a second ago. It came down to 390. What is going on with this thing? There it is, 389. So it's kind of it's a little bit of a problem with their software. It's kind of annoying, but anyways, you have to open it up a little bit more to see the chart, to see the moving average and be sure it's correct. E-signal. Yeah, E-signal. Well, I don't know. DAS isn't really known for having the best charts, so I wouldn't really. Same with Sterling. I wouldn't really rely on either of those for charting. I just wouldn't. So whatever their moving averages are, I would take with a grain of salt. E-signal is usually better. It's usually, as long as you've got your charts opened up correctly. Thinkorswim is usually better. TradingView is usually better. Yeah, you can try to work around on e-signal. There's a couple different things you can do, but you can always load 200 candles, but then you just have to remember you're not looking at the all-time high of the stock. So it's kind of a silly thing to do. All right, so we've got about 12 minutes to the opening bell here. Market's pulled back just a little bit, back below volume weighted average price. GameStop, yeah, I'm not really interested in that. I know it popped up a little bit on Thursday and Friday, but it's pretty risky. So, having not taken any trades yet, we've got 7.5 minutes to the bell. DTST, you have these kind of bursts of volume, 500,000 shares on this candle, 500,000 on this candle, but then it gets really slow sort of in between those candles. So I don't know. The problem now, of course, is that if you had traded it from 340 up to 350, 360, 370, that's fine. But now you're getting close to 390, the 200 moving average. So I'm a little concerned about that resistance that we're getting close to. It would have to break over it and prove it can hold over it. I don't think it will. But, you know, if it does, fine. All right. You know, we'll trade it once it proves it can hold that level. But I don't think it will. I think it's going to reject that level. We'll see. Your next resistance is formed by this topping tail at 499. You've got 397 right here, and then that gives you gap or a window up to 499. So we'll see. I just don't expect it to really open up. So at this point, we've got 6 minutes to the opening bell. Gap scanner doesn't really look that great. The only gapper that we have that's really moving is DTST, but it's not moving a lot. So I really get dialed in on stocks that are squeezing 40, 50 cents, $1 a share. You know, this one's had a range here for the last like 20 minutes of about 20 cents. So it's not to say you can't make money trading in this kind of range, but 30 cents, it's I don't know. I just don't really like it as much. So we'll see. The high is 380. We'll see if we can get over the 200 moving average. OTRA, one of those stocks that sold off crazy, squeezed up, came all the way back down. So just a nasty chart. Yeah, and you can, you know, you can see if anything pops up here as we get closer to the open. 4 minutes to the opening bell. All right, so Warrior Pro members, we've got some things on the calendar this week, so make sure you check the members dashboard. Look at the calendar for mentor sessions. Today, 11 a.m., Q&A session, so make sure you log into that. And those tuning in for the morning show, thank you guys for being here as always. We'll see if we end up getting some opportunities today. If we do, I'll do a recap and upload that later. Otherwise, I'll see you guys for the morning show first thing tomorrow morning. Slow and steady wins the race. So this is a marathon, not a sprint. There will be periods in the marathon that are a little slower and you just got to kind of get through it. And there'll be other periods where you make some more progress. So this is a slower stretch for me, but I'm sitting, you know, I don't know, $10,000 off my all-time highs that my account has ever been. So, you know, I'm not really beaten up about just sitting tight and waiting. With over $10 million in gross profit, I'll just sit tight until the next thing opens up. And it doesn't even matter really whether you had 10 million in gross profit or you had $1 million or 100,000 or 10,000 or you're red. If there's nothing that really looks good, your best bet is to sit and wait for something that opens up. Because when you start over trading lower quality setups, that's where you can catch some nasty losses. So, all right, with that, I'm going to keep streaming for Warrior Pro All Access members, and I'll end the morning show here. Reminder as always, trading is risky. My results are not typical, and there are no guarantees of success. So take it really slow. This is a good time to be practicing in the simulator. 2 minutes to the opening bell.